Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about what if Belle was from Terraria. So in the last video we talked about how we first saw Belle. Not really Belle, it's more like, Belle's previous life as, a regular old salaryman from Japan. Where he, sort of got killed before he was about to, eat dinner, sort of. So, after meeting me, after, a bit of, a war happened. I'm not going to talk about that because, it's sort of complicated than anything else. And, I became God. Yeah. So, after, explaining that he's going to be reincarnated, he would be reincarnated, and, yeah. So, we go to Belle, as Belle is basically, reincarnated, and in the body of his new, incarnated self, aka Belle Cornell. He would also meet his grandfather, and his grandfather would basically try to protect him, even though his parents are basically dead. Yeah. So, a few years have gone by, and he's fully mastered all of his weapons. And he also mastered how to use, two of his mounts, specifically the Basilisk and the, pirate ship, which, by the way, it's not a full pirate ship, it's more like about the size of a regular old bike. In-game, and in the game, it's about the same size as a bike as well, so just imagine it like that. So, just imagine it like that, and also, by the way, the person who asked if it's going to be mixed with Calamity, no. For God's sake, no, because I don't want to have more things on my plate right now, so I'm just gonna keep it vanilla. Nothing else. Maybe I'm gonna make a redo of this. Maybe with Calamity. So, after a few years of basically trading, we go to Belle, as Belle would basically explain to his grandfather that he's planning to become an adventurer. After telling this, well, he would basically start to leave tonight, or not really tonight, more like in the morning, as he would start to leaving his little village and saying goodbye to the other villagers. And while he's basically, about to fall asleep, he would basically summon onto the large straw-like bed on it, like the large straw-like bed on the, I guess you can say, like, carriage, sort of, as he would basically fall asleep. So yeah, that is basically what happened last episode. And also, I sort of forgot to tell you this, guys. He has a pet, like one of those pets in the game. Specifically, a pet that's more resembling of a harpy. And this harpy has dark skin and seems to have, crow-like features. I forgot to tell you guys that because at the time I was a bit tired. So yeah, so that is basically what happened last episode. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, we go to Belle right now. Belle has fully woken up after the whole ride. As he's fully woken up, as he would look around, seeing that the person that was basically, controlling the carriage was gone. After noticing this, he would basically get up, as he would basically fall down to the ground. After doing that, he would basically summon in his little pet, specifically the baby harpy, which I don't have a name for it yet, but I want all of you guys to basically, tell me the name of it. Or at least, give us a name for this little, harpy, by the way. So, yeah, after Belle notices the guy basically gone, he would basically start to leave to try and find him. As when he goes into a forest, he would see the mangled corpse of of that, villager that was basically bringing him towards, Arario. You would see a few monsters basically standing over the corpse with weapons on hand. And these weapons, they were bleeding. Not really bleeding, more like, bloodied. After Belle saw this, well, Belle would basically say, whoop, as he would start to, crack his thing, like, basically, start to, make his fingers pop, like, literally just, like, start snapping them, as he would say this. Well then, guess I'll just have to take care of all of you. After Belle says that, he would basically grab one of his weapons. More specifically, he would start to grab the Terra Prisma, as he would summon in the glowing swords. And by the way, these glowing swords, unlike their basically, glowing in random colors, they would be completely blood red. As he would basically command them, thanks to his, kaleidoscope, to basically destroy all of these monsters by basically, snapping his whip at them. The whip would kill one of the monsters, and as all of the swords would basically charge over there and basically slice through the rest of the monsters. After slicing through them, he would see, well, all of them being destroyed. After all of those monsters were destroyed, he would basically look back and see all of the monster cores on the ground. He would grab them and look back at the mangled corpse of the driver, as he would say this. He would basically sigh as he would basically make a grave for him, as he would say, I'm sorry for your loss, but thankful for you to basically, bring me closer to my goal. After doing that, he would basically make a gravestone as he would start to leave. After doing that, he would look back at the carriage and basically, took the, I guess you can say, kind of like the leash of the horse, or, yeah, I guess you can say saddle of the horse, and basically set it off free. After doing that, he would basically summon, well, the Black Spot, or more specifically, the pirate ship. After getting on the pirate ship, which was about the size of this, like the carriage, or about the size of a bike, he would basically say it, or basically, command it to basically bring him towards Orario. So, after doing that, he would start to fly over there. A few hours have gone by as Belle has been going through the, going through the place. Or more specifically, going through the sky, as he's been doing nothing but, looking around. As his pet, Harpy, or his baby Harpy, is basically, sitting on his shoulder, as he's basically feeding it some rations, which he didn't really like to eat at all. Like, he rarely eats them. Most of the time, he mostly eats food that he gotten from mysterious circumstances, let's just say that. He mostly gets them from a portal that's basically similar to, Gate of Babylon. So, he would basically get some... wait for a second. Belle would basically grab something from that portal and basically grab grilled duck out of nowhere. Belle doesn't know where it is or how the hell did he get that, but he doesn't care. So, he would basically eat it while he's basically, riding across the sky. Yeah, just imagine the pirate ship basically acting like Elon Musk's, car. Basically like, it's self-driving, basically. So, while he's basically eating the grilled duck, he would notice that there's a town below him. He would basically tell the, Black Spot, or, the pirate ship itself, to basically land near the trees so nobody can get suspicious of a man basically floating from the sky. So, after doing that, he would basically float back down as he would tell his baby Harpy, which doesn't have a name because I want all of you guys to comment down below for the name of it, because, I don't really have a name for it yet. So, Belle would basically tell it to go back inside as it would disappear out of nowhere. So, after doing that, he would basically go inside of the town as he would notice the town was pretty much quaint. He would see some of the, people there, and they seem to be random adventurers, basically, looking for jobs here, and some being, here for jobs, mostly. As while he's basically looking around, he would notice a, inn. He would basically stay in the inn for a while now, as he would basically, stay there for basically just resting, and maybe just for sleeping. After when it was about, nighttime, he would decide to go to the local pub and basically start to drink and maybe eat dinner. So, after arriving at a nearby inn, he would basically go in, get it? So, after going into the inn, he would basically, look around as he would find a table nearby. He would order some, fresh meats and also some, ale, even though he can obviously just, get some from his, Gate of Babylon type bullshit over there. But he wants to try and, taste the local delicacies here. So, wait for a second. When he waits for it, while he's basically waiting for his food, he would overhear about, some guys basically harassing some girl. After hearing this, he would feel a little bit, pissed off. After Belle basically, walks towards them, one of them would say, "Oh, "What are you doing?" As one of them would just glare at him. This man seems to be, quite the jackass, seeming to have, a bit of stubble and seems to be wearing, like, large armor and wielding a gigantic sword. Probably to cause some, like, probably to, you know, wait for a second, what do you call it? Probably to compensate, something or whatever. You'll basically get it. After Belle sees the large sword, Belle would just basically laugh as he would say this. "Well, I see that all of you are basically, annoying the young lady over here, so I would rather if you don't do that here." He would say that, as one of the guys would say, "So you're looking for a fight?" As one of them would just glare at him, as one of them would say this. "Hey, come on, don't try and fight the shorty over here. Besides, he can probably get beaten for about like 1 second or something against our leader over here." As the guy with the gigantic sword would say this. "You got that right. So, you're looking for a fight?" As he would basically put his sword against his face, as Bell would sigh as he would basically bring out the zenith. Everybody around them would see the large, intricate sword, as Bell would say this. "Now, scatter." After saying that, they would hear a large explosion outside. More specifically, some of the civilians would basically look outside as you would see several swords basically floating, basically charging towards the, random, adventurers basically harassing the girl. They would basically get sliced apart, but not too much that they can, basically die. Bell would basically let his swords basically take care of them, as Bell would basically take care of the girl. After doing that, he would basically command his swords to basically come back together to create the zenith. After doing that, he would basically tell them to basically get away from the girl, or he will basically beat him to a bloody pulp, with his eyes burning with hatred. As all of them would basically, nod their heads as Bell would basically put back his sword into a Gate of Babylon style type thing. So after doing that, Bell would basically go back to his table as everybody's basically awestruck at him. As Bell would basically look at the waitress that was basically holding his food as he would say this. "Are you," as she would say this. "Oh, yeah, sure." She would basically start to leave, panicked about, what happened. So, after Bell basically eats his food, he would basically start to leave. So, after that day, he would basically start to get out of the, inn and basically checks out. He would start to leave riding on the basilisk that he, summoned, which is his mount. The land mount, to be more precise. As, while he was leaving, some of the adventurers there would just think in his mind, like, all of them would just think in their minds, "What the fuck is he?" They would think in their minds as Bell would basically, rode off into the sunset, or sunrise in this case. So, Bell is basically, finally leaving the town as Bell would decide to deactivate his, cloaking armor. Not really cloaking, but more like, it's basically like, in the game, or specifically when you basically decide to, I don't want to, show off my armor. So you basically turn it off, basically, not allowing anybody to see it. It's basically similar to that. So allow me to show you what Bell looks like. So Bell is currently, wearing this armor, basically, not allowing the, invisibility to basically, cloud his, armor. So, while he's basically, riding on his basilisk, everybody, not really everybody, I mean, some monsters would basically see him in that armor and are shaking. They're basically in the shadows getting ready to hunt down any, traveling merchants or something of that sort, but after seeing him, they would say, "Nah, I'm not fighting him." All of the monsters would basically start to run away because he basically has every single, what do you call them? Equipment in the game. More specifically, actually, I don't know what really to call them. They're more like, like those enhancement things. Like, for example, like those shackles from the zombies um, or the Brain of Confusion. I don't really know what to actually call them. It's basically similar to those. So he basically has a mix of all of them into that armor, which allows him to basically, have every effect imaginable. So, yeah. So, all of these monsters would basically start to run away from the sheer immense power from him. So, while Bell is basically traveling alone, Bell would basically feel somebody's watching him. As Bell would basically look back as he would see a few adventurers basically, following him. More specifically, adventurers that were basically, running on a large, carriage. As one of them would say this, "Hey, hello there, fellow adventurer. Are you," as he would say this, "Oh, I'm not really an adventurer. Yet. But, what are you looking at?" As one of them would say this, "You exactly! I mean, seriously, what the heck are you?" As Bell would say this, "Oh, I'm just new to venturing, I guess you can say." As one of them would say this, like hell you are! I mean, seriously, what the heck is that aura? And, it feels terrifying. And what the heck are you, like, you're riding on a freaking monster! Why aren't you killing it?" As Bell would say this, "Because it's my mount." Bell would basically say that with a monotone voice, and Bell currently on the inside in his mind is basically laughing at their sheer, like, how they're freaking afraid of him. One of them, specifically a mage that was a girl, would say this, "Please don't, please don't be angry about my friends here. They're just, a bit afraid of you. They're a bit intimidated." As Bell would say this, "I see. Anyway, I'm just gonna be going off now. You can, go." As Bell would basically, snap his whip at his little basketless friend over there, he would basically start to move forward as he's basically running at full speed. As everybody would just notice this, and they would think, "Did he teleport?" All of them would basically say in unison, as we go to Bell basically going on high speed. So, after Bell basically riding on the, basilisk for about, 12 hours, well, Bell would basically arrive at a large, clearing. More specifically, a large valley, filled with nothing but vast, plains. After Bell gets off of his, basilisk and basically commands it to go back inside, Bell would basically starts walking instead, and basically turns off his armor, transforming into this. Yeah, it's a pretty simple design, but, well, I want to make Bell look absolutely not as intimidating. Bell seems to have a scar on his eye, and even though he's able to heal it thanks to, some of the food that he has from Terraria, well, Bell doesn't really want to heal it. More than anything, he wants to keep it, just to, I guess you could say, give a little bit of, like, class to him. He also has one goldenish eye. He doesn't know why he has that in the first place, but he thinks it's pretty cool. So, as Bell is basically, going down the large hill that's basically, basically near the, grassy plains, he would notice a big city nearby. More specifically, the city of Arario. When he was about to approach it, let's go to a different perspective. So, we go to the perspective of some, Familia members, including some members of the, Loki Familia, and, the, wait for a second, and Freya. Well, they're currently just minding their own business, doing their missions, things of that sort, until they feel an immense pressure nearby. As they would think, what the fuck is going on? As the adventurers would also feel this, some some low level, low level adventurers from, 1 to about 6, levels high, were basically, falling to the ground. And those that are above it would basically start to, feel like they're about to have a heart attack. Including a certain, Eyes right now. So, Eyes is basically, hyperventilating, thinking, what the fuck is going on? As a certain, Bet is basically, crawling on the ground, thinking that he's about to die. So, all of them would basically feel it coming from the entrance of Arario, or nearby the entrance of Arario. So, every single adventurer right now that are high enough level, except for, like, level 6 and below, would basically start running towards the area to basically check if there's any type of monster. We go back to Bell, shall we? Bell is currently, turned off his, his armor, not allowing anybody to, see it. But he sort of forgotten to, deactivate his aura. So yeah, as while he's basically going off, basically going towards Arario, he would notice that a lot of people are gathering for some reason. Bell would think, what the fuck is going on right now? As Bell would basically think in his mind, did I forget anything? As Bellwood doesn't feel a necklace on his neck, or more specifically, a cross necklace, which, yes, this is supposed to be the thing that's supposed to cover up his gigantic ass aura that's supposed to, I don't know, basically cause any trouble for him. So, when Bell is basically going down from, that large hill and basically arriving at Terraria, he would see a lot of adventurers basically shaking their boots while wielding their weapons at him. As one of them would say this, "What the heck are you?" As Bell would say this, "Oh, I'm just new here. I just want to join the guild, nothing else. And why are all of you outside right now? I mean, I thought you were going to go adventuring or something." As one of them would say this, "Don't lie to us, you monster." As one of them would say, "Yeah, you're definitely not a normal human." As Bell would say this, what the heck are you talking about?" Bell would just basically shake his head as Bell would think in his mind, what the heck is going on? He would basically start to scratch the back of his neck. As one of them would say this, "Don't lie to us. You're some sort of monster. A monster in human skin." As one of them would say this, "Yeah, you're definitely not human. Not definitely human at all." As Bell would basically look back at them and notice that he doesn't have his necklace, as you would say this. "Oh, I get it now." Bell would basically, smack himself, right, like smack him, like, not really smack, more like knock his head a little bit, like, on the forehead, as he would say this. I must have forgotten my necklace." Bell would basically grab the cross necklace as he would basically put it on, as everybody would start to feel relief. Everybody would just look back at him as they would say, "What the heck was that?" As Bell would say this, "Oh, nothing. Anyway, I should be going to the guild now." As Bell was basically start to get ready to leave, one of them specifically, a dog, I guess you can say dog faunus, still watching Ruby, and I'm still planning on making a Ruby what if, grabs him by his, wait for a second, grabs him by the back of his collar as he would say this, "Oh no, you don't! I mean, what the heck are you?" As he would basically grab him by the back of his neck as he would say this, "Hey, what are you doing?" As he would say this, "I'm not letting you go, you damn monster." As he would get ready, as he would start creating fire from his fingertips. As he would say this, "You really are trying to piss me off right now, right?" As he would say this, "So what? You look like you're a weakling." As this person, which, after hearing a bit of, after hearing a lot of people basically saying that, this person's name is Bet, Bell would basically say this, "Alright, Mr. Bet, guess I'll just have to do this the hard way then." As he would basically create this Gate of Babylon style like portal, as he would grab, wait for a second, as he would grab the Daedalus Stormbow, as he would grab some jester arrows out of nowhere, as he would throw them up into the sky. After doing that, they would hear a rain of arrows, as everybody would start getting away from that area, including Bet, dropping, Bell. As Bell would basically get dropped, Bell would summon in wait for a second, a Paladin shield, basically blocking all of the arrows, as everybody would just think, what the fuck is this kid? And currently, the Apollo Familia nearby, which noticed the, large disturbance, would basically watch. And one of them specifically, a guy by the name of Hyacinthus, or at least I think that's his name, would watch in intrigue. And Apollo there is basically interested in this kid, especially because, oh boy, he is a hungry little shit over there. After all, he is after all, he is a power-hungry asshole over there. So, Apollo is basically watching him in intrigue. So, after Bell did that, Bell would say, "Alright, get off me, I'm leaving." As Bell would basically, start to leave to go to the guild, Bell would see a lot of people, mostly civilians, have basically dropped to the ground. Or at least, fallen unconscious, at least. Bell would think, Ah, shit. I should have made my aura a little bit more discreet. Or at least put on my necklace again. As Bell would basically go towards the guild, he would see a lot of people there. Mostly people that are shaking in their shaking in their pants right now. And they're basically looking at Bell. As well, they would say this. Hello, sir. Are you perhaps the... As Bell would say this. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I forgot to put on my aura suppressing necklace. So I'm really sorry. As he would basically bow, as he would say this. Anyway, I'm looking to join, a familia and maybe become an adventurer. As all of them, more specifically, some of the, receptionists would basically say this. I see. So, which familia do you want to join? Asbel would say this. I'm just looking for a normalish one. I mean, anything that's at least, not hardworking, but enough for me to get by. As one person would basically hear this. This person seems to be a girl that seems to be a 12-year-old, sort of, more like, a 15-year-old, but seems to have quite a developed body, to say the least. She seems to have a lot. She seems to have a lot of assets. More specifically, the ass part. Ugh, god damn it. As a person right there, specifically another one that seems to be. Wait for a second. She seems to be a redhead with an eye patch. As she basically walks towards him, as she would say this. Hello there. So, you're wondering if you want to join a familia, right? Maybe decide to join mine instead. As this woman that basically walks towards him, as Belle would basically look at her. As Belle would say this, mind telling me who you are? As, well, another person would basically drop in and basically knock, Aphisis into the ground, as she would say this. Please join my familia. I mean, I don't really have any familia members. Please do it. As this person was the girl with, a lot of assets. Parting at the ass part. As Belle would say this, okay, look away. As Belle would basically look away, as Belle would recognize her as, well, Hestia from the Damachi game. In fact, he can recognize this place as the game from Damachi. And he would also notice that some of the, people there were also from Damachi, the game. As Belle would say this, mind telling me who you... As she would say this, oh, I'm Hestia, and it's nice to meet you. Please join my familia, please. She would say, pleading, as everybody would just look at her, as all of them would think, huh, is that guy pretty gullible to basically join her familia? As Belle would say this, sure, why not? Everybody would just jaw drop at that point, and they would think, what the fuck? As Hephaestus would just say, hold on, please join my family instead. I mean, this girl doesn't have anything compared to mine. And besides, you'll be treated right there. As Belle would say this. Sorry, but I'm probably gonna get enslaved by you, but her, I can definitely see that she's not as, greedy as you. As after hearing that, she would basically feel like it was a stab to the heart. As Belle would say this. Anyway, I should be going now. Is there a way to, as she would say this. Oh yeah, I forgot. She would basically, bring Belle towards her, home, which is the, abandoned church. To the abandoned church right now. So, Belle is currently in a couch, or more specifically, sitting on a couch. As Hestia would say this. So, you're planning on joining my familia, right? As Belle would say this. Yeah, obviously. As she would say this. Well, I want you to take off your shirt. As Belle would say this. Please rephrase that. As she would say this. Why? As she would realize what she meant by that, as she would basically start to blush, as she would say this. No, it's not like that. I mean, we're going to, as Belle would say this. Sure. As Belle would basically start, take off his shirt, as she would basically prick her finger and basically put some blood on her, Belle's back. After doing that, several, tattoos, and including the symbol for her familia, would basically appear on his back. she would basically look at the stats that he had, and oh boy, her eyes widened so big that they're about the size of tennis balls. She would basically look at Belle, like she would basically look back at Belle as she would say this. I think I might have gotten the greatest adventure imaginable, and it's probably my luckiest day ever. As Belle would basically tell her what is going on. As she would say this. Well, here, she would basically get some paper and basically imprints the stats that he had. As when Belle reads it, oh boy, he has a lot of stats. Apparently, he's basically the perfect adventurer imaginable. He basically has A plus, strength, things of that sort. Just imagine it like that. And not only that, his skills are even more overpowered, allowing him to, summon in weapons. And yeah, so she basically read everything, except for the whole, Belle being a reincarnated, person from another world part. So, after reading all of this, Belle would basically look back at her as she would say this. So, when are you going to be starting your adventuring job? As Belle would say this. Just let me take some sleep. I'm currently tired right now. As she would say this. Oh, makes sense. After all, you're probably pretty tired from your trip, right? As Belle would say this. Yeah, pretty much. As Belle would basically get off the couch, as Belle would basically move towards to a little bed nearby, or I guess you could say a little church seat. As Belle would basically, grabs a nearby, not really nearby pillow, but more like a nearby, pillow that he gotten from this, this Gate of Babylon type bullshit right there, which he would basically puts it on his, under his head as he would basically fall asleep. After, Hestia saw that, she would say, I think I had my most luckiest day imaginable. She would say that under her breath as she would say this. Well, I hope that we can become great friends, Mr. As Belle would say this. Belle Cornell. I almost forgot to tell you my name. As she would say this. Very well, Belcoon. After saying that, she would basically start to go to her, little, sleeping den, which is just a couch, as she would basically fall asleep. So yeah, I'm going to be ending this episode right off here. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!